Mitch, yesterday toward the end, he said something, and I don't know if he said these words exactly, but it was inside of what he was saying, and it's a very important lesson. He was talking about the improvement in his business, because we're talking about reimagining our businesses so that we can make a positive impact, right? He was talking about the positive impact that change is made from where he started to where he is today. What was maybe unsaid but very heavily implied, his business did not change for the better until he changed for the better. The change started with him. In those early days, he was looking at everything around him. He was looking at the people. I just don't have the right people. They're not good enough. They're not doing what I ask them. They're not doing this. They're not doing that. He was looking at his systems and saying the systems aren't working. The systems are wrong. Once he changed that focus and said, you know what? I'm the one that built these systems. You know what? I'm the one that hired, trained, and put these people in the position they're in. Once he changed the focus and said, you know what? It starts with me. I've got to be a better me. That's when the real change started. But as we've been talking about building habits and changing ourselves, psychologists will tell us that we'll never outperform our own self-image. Right now, every one of us, we have a self-image of who we are, and also of not just as people, but as business owners, as spouses, as parents. We have this self-image. It's not always positive. We have so many negative thoughts that are going on inside of our brain, and it's so hard to control. And we are what we are, who we are, where we are because of the dominating thoughts that we've allowed to exist. And so if we don't change ourselves, the external things that are all around us are not going to change. So yesterday, I started, let's reimagine our business, our company, our industry. Today, let's spend a little bit of time and let's reimagine me. Let's reimagine what is it that I want to become. So I'm sure that as you were going through yesterday, you're starting to think of your goals and things that you want to accomplish before the tax season ends. That's an outward focus. What if we refocus just a little bit inward and say, what do I want to become? Who do I want to become? Who do I want to be? Who would I have to be in order to get to that? And then let's start working from the inside out. Now, this idea of changing the self-image is tough. Psychologically, it's very tough. It's very ingrained. You think about your way a certain way, and you have since you're about 6 or 7 years old when your conscious brain actually formed. This is a long time. It's very tough. And so self-image, until you change it, and it's going to take time to change it, you're going to struggle. So this is a process. Now, for me, I've been speaking and doing things like this since I was 22 years old. My first business trip ever was to Dallas, Texas. Go Cowboys. I spent time in Houston, spent time in San Antonio, and I was going around traveling, training, speaking, pretty much what I've done ever since then. And it seems odd because I had a little bit of a self-image problem for a while. Now, when I was 5 years old, I'm in the back of a car. My sister, who is 15 with learner's permits driving, we're in Raleigh, North Carolina. We're at a stop sign. She goes pull out to take her left turn. It's a truck coming, right? Big 18-wheeler. She sees it coming. She didn't see the little car behind it. Right in the door. As she looks around after the crash, I was hanging half in, half out. The majority of my face was gone. With every heartbeat, they said it was like a fountain. My mom is obviously distraught, but she has a concussion, doesn't know what to do. We're waiting for an ambulance, and a lady stops and says, put that kid in the car right now, or he's gonna die, right? So we go to the hospital. Never saw her again. I don't know who it was. My mom says it's an angel. I don't know. I've never seen her since. Don't know. But we got to the hospital, and there just happened to be a vascular surgeon that put me back together, right? And I survived. Now, as a kid, and you get the scars from the accident, right? This whole side of my face was gone, right? Over 100 stitches just here. And so kids are rough, man. They call you names. The first words out of their mouth are, good God, man, what happened to your face? Right? I actually had a girl at one point say, you'd be kind of cute if it wasn't for the scars. Right? So that was tough. Now, the reason this came in my mind, I was visiting my home where I grew up. My mom is an artist. She writes. And she had written poems about everybody in the family I didn't know. And she had a 2-page poem written about me. And it told the story of the accident. Now, I haven't thought about it in years. It means nothing to me. I don't even think about it. But when I started thinking about it, and we were talking in that group about self-image, I was like, I wonder why I never thought about it, because it's obvious. So why is it that just doesn't cross my mind. How is it that I've gone on stage and done all kinds of things and put myself out there when the self-image could have gone another way? And so I asked her, I said, what did you do? How did you control my thinking? She says, I wouldn't let you think of yourself in any other way than the way I saw you. And the word she used was perfect. Now, that's not true, but that's my mom, right? And so, but it was a process. Now, not everybody has a mama that's going to take a traumatic situation and just pour themselves into them to make sure that the self-image isn't damaged. A lot of us in this room, we've gone through things. We've lived life. Life is tough. And you've allowed those things to cause you to see yourself as scarred. We've got to get beyond that. If you're going to change yourself, if you're going to change your business, you've got to see yourself as who you truly are. What is it you want to become? And then let's start becoming that person. So throughout the day, don't just think about where I want my business to go. Think about who would I have to be? Who do I need to become to make sure that my dream really does happen? And then start acting in that way. If you will just start to act in that way and you start to see yourself a little bit differently each and every day, every time you see yourself a little differently, it's like putting a little bit of money in the bank. And it starts to accrue, it starts to build. And all of a sudden, you're gonna wake up one day and you're not even gonna see the same person that you saw just a few days earlier than that. So today, reimagine you. Because I promise you, if you want to get where you're trying to go, it's gonna start here. It's not gonna start out here. It's not your people, it's not your business. It's gonna start here. Once you make that change in mindset, once you make that change, I promise you good things will happen.